Hello, hello, everybody. Come on in. Hope everyone's having an amazing Thursday today. So, in this live, we're going to be going over how I look and feel my best all year round with my current routine. So, I did a poll on my Instagram, and this was the most requested topic. So, we're going to start off just by saying that this is my routine. This is what works for me. This isn't necessarily what is going to work for you, but hopefully you can take something from my routine and take bits and pieces and just see what works for you. I am a very big morning person, so a lot of what I do is focused around me going to bed early and me waking up early, but I was not always that way. And so I'll talk a little bit about how I got there as well. Hello, everyone. Come on in. Welcome. Welcome. So please, before we start, post any questions you have about routine building or anything like that in the chat so I can make sure I can touch on that at the end if I don't touch on it throughout it. But otherwise, let's get started. So how I look and feel my best all year round really comes down to habits. I am a creature of habit and routine. And it's super important for me to be able to follow my routine 80% of the time. So most important thing that I used to miss was that I would get so hard on myself and being this perfectionist mindset of having everything look perfect all year round, all the time. But that's not always going to be the case. And so recognizing that even though you might have a routine, that routine is not always going to be the same. Winter, summer, things are going to look different. But in terms of what I do for my workouts, so right now I am lifting 3 times a week. So I love resistance training and I'm doing kind of a full body routine. And I do that 3 days a week. And all of the other days, there's two rest days typically. And then I have 2 cardio days. So I'm a big avid tennis player. Tennis was something I played growing up. So I'm a very big proponent of you finding a sport or a cardio activity that you enjoy that you can play with friends. Sometimes it's pickleball. Maybe you can just go play frisbee in the park, take advantage of the summertime. And so basically the 3 times lifting and then 2 times cardio. And then I often just do 2 rest days, but with a ton of walking. And I will talk a little bit about how I actually incorporate walking into my routine when I am working throughout the day and just making sure that I'm getting my body moving. So basically what happens and how I structure my day is I always wake up and making sure that I have at least an hour and a half before work starts. So it's very important for me to start my day with something by myself that is not related to work. Because if you wake up a majority of the time, you go straight from your bed to your computer, and then you're working all day, every day, you are just not going to feel fulfilled. You're going to feel like you're constantly doing things for someone else, constantly working for someone else, and not prioritizing yourself. So this is exactly what welcome Christy, welcome Hannah. This is exactly what I teach my clients, and most important thing to prioritize, even if you aren't a big morning person, even doing 10 minutes of walking or something in the morning before you start work is going to make the world of difference. So I wake up at about 5:45 to get to the gym for 6:15, and I always walk to the gym. But how do I do that? Well, your morning starts at night, everybody. So if you want to start waking up early and you want to become a morning person, it's not about you saying, I'm just going to stop hitting snooze. You need to focus on your nighttime routine. Hello, Santana. Hello, everyone. So the nighttime routine, meaning you need to have some sort of, structure. It doesn't need to be this rigid structure where at 7 p.m. you're doing dinner, 7:30 p.m. you're cleaning the dishes, 8 p.m. this. And I think that's where a lot of us get caught up. But what you do need to make sure you're doing is you are allocating enough time for you to wind down to then be able to get a good night's sleep so that you feel well rested and energized to wake up the next morning. So what I always do is I always make sure that by 8:30, we are stopping watching our TV and we're taking about an hour to wind down. So at 8:30, that might look like, going and cleaning the dishes in the kitchen. If the kitchen's dirty, going and taking off my makeup, washing my face, brushing my teeth, and then finally getting into bed at around 9, and then giving myself from 9 to 9:30, no phones. I've already put my phone on do not disturb. And I put it away. I do plug it next to my bed, but I put it on do not disturb. I turn my alarm on, turn it face down, and then I start journaling and reading, or really whatever feels good for me in the moment. So another thing that gets, caught up in this perfectionist mindset, and what gets a lot of my clients overwhelmed, is having that perfect routine once you're in bed. And it doesn't need to be perfect. And you don't need to have this specific rigid plan of, okay, when I'm in bed, I'm going to read 10 minutes of my book and then I'm going to do 10 minutes of journaling. No, just have something or a few things that you know you enjoy that are away from technology so that you can start to wind down. And that's the really key point. No technology. So I really try to, we dim all of our lights. We only put our lamps on. And sometimes I wear like blue light glasses just to help me really get in this space to wind down and go to sleep. And then I'm giving myself at least 7.5 hours to sleep. And one thing that was really eye-opening for me is wearing my Aura ring, because I used to think that I was getting 8 hours of sleep. And then I would look at my Aura ring and it would actually be 7 hours or 7 hours and 15 minutes because I would get up to go to the bathroom or I'd be rolling around. And so I actually had to allocate more time for me to sleep, because it might take you 10 minutes to fall asleep, 15 minutes, and so on. So that's my nighttime routine. Nothing too crazy. I just have a hard stop of when I'm stopping using my technology, and then everything comes into place after that. Hello, keep on coming in. Hope everyone's having a great Thursday. And then when I wake up, like I said, I go to the gym. And because I try to walk to the gym, I'm already getting outside in the morning and I'm able to start my day with some fresh air, with some sunlight. Now, this morning, for example, was a bit of out of the ordinary. Typically, Monday to Friday, I am going to the gym. Weekends are my rest days, but today I decided to sleep in. I didn't wake up and go outside. I went straight to my computer, and that's okay. Your routine is not going to be perfect all the time. However, it is important to understand that getting in the habit consistently or a majority of the time is where you want to focus. And then throughout the day, to get my walking in, I always habit stack my walking with a meal. So when I'm sitting down to eat a meal, I will always make sure I'm allocating 10 minutes at least after that meal to go on a walk around the block. And if I'm eating 3 meals a day plus a snack in the afternoon, that's 40 minutes of walking. That doesn't necessarily like, oh, that's crazy, but it adds up and you really get your movement in and it makes you feel, hello, Lauren, hello, keep on coming in. So it makes you feel way less stressed, way more energized throughout the day. You're way more focused, but you're not committing to a 40-minute walk at once. You're committing to small walks subsequently throughout the day that are going to add up and they're just going to help you feel so much better. So this is something I absolutely live by. I am always getting my walks in this way and it's so crucial to me. And this is also something that I teach my clients and help my clients do. Now, the last thing, a big thing, is meal prepping. So I used to hate the idea of meal prepping. I was like, okay, this is going to take 2 hours out of my Sunday. I have to, pick every single meal and then I have to portion it all. And then I have to put it in all these containers. And how am I going to fit this into my fridge? And oh my gosh. So mind blown of the way that I changed meal prepping. So yeah, I agree. I've started doing that as well. And it's such a game changer. Helps with digestion as well. Exactly. Yeah, it totally does. And there's so many benefits to it, right? And if we kind of look at walking as only a way to just like lose weight or burn calories, it's not going to be fun. But our bodies were meant to move. We were not meant to be sitting at a desk 8 hours of a day, not moving our bodies. And so thinking about, 100 years ago, like even more than that, like we were, not sitting at a desk, not sitting in front of screens. So the human body was made to be moving all day. So simply adding and habit stacking onto your meals is great. But for meal prepping, what we do, and when I used to go into the office, I would meal prep more with containers just because it was easier. But what I did when I was working in the office was I would cook basically the majority of the meal. So the thing that took the longest, which was usually, for example, the protein and then the carbohydrate. So if I was eating potatoes or rice or something like that, that would take a while. So I would basically chunk those and put them together. And then I would put those in their big containers in the fridge. Then the night before, when I would pack my lunch, I would take the protein, I would take the rice, I would combine it into how much I wanted to eat, and then I would add all of the other toppings or any other cold ingredients that really didn't take a while to cook the night of. So this totally changed the game for meal prepping for me because it didn't take as long. It wasn't, like you weren't just like, what's the word? Like dreading it. You weren't dreading it because it wasn't going to take as long. And it also was way less overwhelming to think about all of the packaging. And now what we typically do is, because I do work from home, I typically just will make a larger meal when we're cooking dinner, for example, and we'll make sure we have about 3 meals each from that. And we're usually doing that about 3 times a week. So when I'm cooking my meals, we are obviously focusing on eating whole foods, and it's just balanced meals. So making sure we have a protein, making sure we have a carbohydrate, and then making sure we have a fat. And this is, hello, Coralie. And this is really just my strategy here. And what I typically do is, what protein do I love eating consistently, and then how can I change that around to not make it boring? So for example, if I love eating chicken and vegetables and rice, and I'm starting to get bored of that, then maybe I can start doing chicken skewers with those vegetables and then a different carbohydrate. Maybe I'll start doing a chicken stir fry with the same vegetables and then rice in it. So really keeping things super simple and keeping it all the same, but you just change it a little bit and add a tiny bit of variety so that you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm eating the same thing every day, all day. This is getting so boring. And it makes cooking fun, and you actually enjoy the food that you're eating. And then, really when it comes down to my routine, this is kind of like a Monday to Friday thing. I think it's so important to recognize, especially when you're following influencers or fitness coaches online. You think that they're like perfect all the time, and they're working out all the time, they're moving their body, they're never eating sweets and sugar, and that's just you know totally unreasonable or not, probably not true. Some people probably do that, and that's okay, but for me, I would way rather be able to enjoy, have treats, go out with my friends, have some cocktails on the weekend, and then still eat this way and have this routine. So I usually do this Monday to Friday, and then on my weekends I sleep in a little bit later. So I'm not waking up at 5:45. I'm waking up probably at 8, and I'm not going to bed at the same time. So it will change. But what I do going into the weekday is, on a Sunday night, I will always treat my Sunday night like it is a weeknight, so that I can start getting back into my routine. In the past, I would not do this. I would stay up really late Sunday because I would try to like extend my weekend when I was going into the office, and I was dreading my Monday, and it just made my mindset so much worse. So instead of dreading a Monday and making your Sunday longer, just go into your Sunday evening with this routine, and it's going to make you feel so much more refreshed, so much better on a Monday, and really start your day with so much more positivity. So that's pretty much it for my typical routine. The one last thing I will say that's not a full-on habit yet that I am really trying to incorporate is my meditation and manifestation practices. So I do these at least once or twice a week. I would like to do it more consistently twice a week, but right now it's about once a week. And I will do it typically on the weekend when I have more time in the morning, when I'm not working as much. And that's something that's really helped me be more present and ground myself and stay focused to my goal, to my exercise, to my workouts, and everything else. So if you have any questions, please post them in the chat. I'm just going to look through some of the comments now just to see if I missed anything. But let's continue to see. Otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed this, and hopefully you can take some tips from this and start implementing things. I will say, like I said at the beginning, this is my routine. This is what works for me. It's not necessarily going to be what works for you. However, you can take one or two things, like little nibbits, and try to implement something that you feel like is going to make the biggest impact. So hope everyone has an awesome Thursday. And finally, if you feel like you need some help implementing these things, this is exactly what I go over and do in my one-on-one coaching program. So I work with clients one-on-one to build custom programs, habits, and routines for them. I help them execute. I help them ensure that they have a plan for what their normal routine looks like, and then also planning for when the routine changes and when they can't necessarily follow through on their specific habits. We always come up with a plan B to make sure that they follow through and actually stay consistent. So if you are interested, make sure to comment ready, and I will personally reach out with more information. This is going to be posted on my Instagram, and I will also link the call, free discovery call, if you want to join that and chat with me a little bit more about it. But have a great Thursday, everyone, and see you soon.